I ran into the children's building of my church. Lock the doors! Tell the children to lay on the floor. A man has a gun. Then my heart sank to the floor as I thought, this entire wall is made out of glass. What am I gonna do if he shoots the glass? My entire life, my plan was to get a Florida concealed carry permit the day that I turned 21. As the day drew near, I realized I might have a problem. My wife was angry and scared at the idea of having a gun around the house around our kids. Plus, I was afraid that if I had a gun, I would lose control and do something stupid that would land me in prison for the rest of my life. So I put it off. Then, early one July Sunday morning, I was sitting at the back of our church when I noticed a man walking in wearing a long black leather trench coat. Now, I shouldn't have to tell you that a thick trench coat in the middle of July in Florida makes no sense at all. So this naturally raised some red flags for me. I watched the man as he walked down the road, checking to see if the side doors were locked. Then he walked up to an emergency exit, which was clearly labeled "Alarms Will Sound," and he pushed it open. The alarms went off, and all the people inside were looking around confused at what was happening. As I was sitting in service, a staff member slapped me on the shoulder and said, "Ryan, we think this guy is an active shooter. Go to the children's building, tell them what's happening, and secure the building." I jumped up, ran next door, and began locking the doors and placing volunteers to guard each door. I decided to guard the main entrance, which was completely made of glass. As I was standing next to the glass wall, I thought to myself, what am I gonna do if this guy shoots through the glass? With my gun, I needed to overcome my fear of losing control with my firearm and making a costly mistake by changing my mindset. It's been 12 years since a gunman walked into my church and threatened my family. And now I am on a mission to help people just like you develop the knowledge, skills, and mindset necessary to defend themselves and their families from a violent attack. Introducing the Florida Concealed Carry I ran into the children's building of my church. Lock the doors! Tell the children to lay on the floor. A man has a gun. Then my heart sank to the floor as I thought, this entire wall is made out of glass. What am I gonna do if he shoots the glass? My entire life, my plan was to get a Florida concealed carry permit the day that I turned 21. As the day drew near, I realized I might have a problem. My wife was angry and scared at the idea of having a gun around the house around our kids. Plus, I was afraid that if I had a gun, I would lose control and do something stupid that would land me in prison for the rest of my life. So I put it off. Then, early one July Sunday morning, I was sitting at the back of our church when I noticed a man walking in wearing a long black leather trench coat. Now, I shouldn't have to tell you that a thick trench coat in the middle of July in Florida makes no sense at all. So this naturally raised some red flags for me. I watched the man as he walked down the road, checking to see if the side doors were locked. Then he walked up to an emergency exit, which was clearly labeled "Alarms Will Sound," and he pushed it open. The alarms went off, and all the people inside were looking around confused at what was happening. As I was sitting in service, a staff member slapped me on the shoulder and said, "Ryan, we think this guy is an active shooter. Go to the children's building, tell them what's happening, and secure the building." I jumped up, ran next door, and began locking the doors and placing volunteers to guard each door. I decided to guard the main entrance, which was completely made of glass. As I was standing next to the glass wall, I thought to myself, what am I gonna do if this guy shoots through the glass? At that moment, I realized I had made a very stupid and critical mistake. And I finally realized what I needed to do to protect my wife and daughter. I needed to get my Florida concealed carry permit so that I had the ability to protect my loved ones. I needed to develop a deep understanding of Florida concealed carry law so that I knew exactly what I was allowed to do with my gun. I needed to overcome my fear of losing control with my firearm and making a costly mistake by changing my mindset. It's been 12 years since a gunman walked into my church and threatened my family. And now I am on a mission to help people just like you develop the knowledge, skills, and mindset necessary to defend themselves and their families from a violent attack. Introducing the Florida Concealed Carry Masterclass. how to become a safe and responsible concealed carry permit holder so that you can protect your family from evil. The Florida Concealed Carry Masterclass is dramatically different from anything else you'll find on the internet, because I created this training specifically for first-time shooters who have little to no experience with firearms, who have a deep desire to become safe, responsible concealed carry permit holders. And today, you can have access to the Florida Concealed Carry Masterclass for free. So take the first step towards protecting yourself and your loved ones by clicking the Learn More button down below. Hey, what's up, guys? Ryan and Tiffany here.
Hello. Happy Monday.
Man, it seems like tech problems are just like
every single
the go-to
week.
thing.
Every single week before we jump on, there's something going on. It's crazy.
Not something. It's an epic system meltdown.
And like everything works. Nothing, but it's like
everything works like an hour ago.
And then like the feed doesn't work. And then the email, like I just tried to send the email and it says error. It won't send.
Yeah. All right. What is up, Robert, Florida Sheepdog, Canic Bill, Miles, Will?
I think that it's because it's on a Monday and everybody hates Mondays, including tech.
To be very honest,
what?
I love Mondays.
Do you?
Mondays are my best day. Oh my gosh, dude. That's why I end up working like 15, 16 hours every Monday. Like Saturday, I'm excited for Sunday because I get to rest. Like noon on Sunday, I'm like, I wish it was Monday so I could just work. That's pretty much how I feel.
I don't feel that way at all. Like I feel zero.
I'm like a racehorse.
I'm
tied to a fence that just wants to run free.
You're giving yourself too much credit, sweetheart.
No.
Yeah. So the reason I like Monday is because the boys get off at 1:30, and then I'm like, oh, gotta feed the boys, so then I can like start cooking and stuff like that, and I don't have to be at my desk because I don't like being at my desk.
No.
No, I'd rather be gardening or cooking or doing something like that. So.
Okay,
that's
nice.
the way I feel.
All right, guys, we got a lot of crazy stuff that has been happening this week. This is going to be a little bit longer of a show because there's so much wild stuff. We don't have enough time to get through it all.
We'll fit it in.
We're going to fit it in. She said that before. All right, so you want to jump into this first story?
Yeah, I guess.
All right, imagine having...
going out.
So this is a young kid actually went to his school. This kid's 12 years old, went to his school, shot and killed another kid, and then fled the area, ran to this woman's home, and is trying to, like, get help. He's trying to get help like he's the victim of a school shooting.
Yeah, he said.
But he is the shooter.
Yeah, there's a shooting at school. He's talking through the Ring doorbell, right? And she's not home. So he's banging, trying to get in, saying, I'm so scared, I need to call my dad. There's been a shooting at the school. And this lady said, if she was home, she would have let him in.
She would have let this kid in.
Honestly.
And we probably would too.
Yeah.
He probably still has a gun. And there's no telling what he's going to do. So let's watch a video.
He did.
All right, imagine having someone random, a kid at that, showing up to your front door in a panic. Well, this happened on Thursday to Elaine Griffin.
He came and he rung the doorbell, and he was just saying that he was scared that there was some shooting at the school. And he was just begging for us to let him in, but wasn't no one at home.
Elaine wasn't home at the time, but was able to communicate for an extended period with him through her doorbell camera. Now, we've concealed the boy's identity because he's a minor. In the video, the boy tells Elaine a shooting happened at his school, that he ran and was afraid.
He just kept asking to come in, that he was scared, and he asked me what I called his father. So I told him I wasn't there to let him in, but if he give me the number, I would call him.
So that's what Elaine did, called his father. Not long after having a conversation with the father and hanging up the phone, Elaine says something caught her attention.
As I watched him and on my doorbell, he just seemed very nervous, so I was just thinking to myself, I wondered, did he have something to do with it?
Shortly after, Elaine got a call back from the father's number.
So when I answered the phone, it was the detective. And he just asked me what did the young man have on and describe him to them. So after I told him, he just asked me to not to tell him that they was talking to me. So I didn't. I told him I wouldn't say anything.
Turns out it was the 12-year-old
that's
boy
the kid that
police
died.
say shot and killed Jamari Jackson at Tanglewood Middle School shortly before arriving to the house. After Elaine gave a description to detectives, they came looking for him.
When they found him, it's an opening on this side of the deck, and he was up under there.
Take a look under here. This is the deck where the 12-year-old boy was hiding after climbing on a bench to hop over to the other side, leaving behind this footprint.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on this shooting, Tef?
Well, I mean,
Or this incident?
Yeah, it's just crazy because when you listen, to how it played out, like I totally would have let that kid in. I totally would have been like,
Yeah, to be very honest, I would let him in very fast.
yeah. And what sucks is like you see things like this, and then you're like, oh, better know next time. Like, don't help. And I hate that we're always put in this position of like, don't help, because it's gonna come. There's gonna come a day, time and day where it's like you won't be able to get help from anybody.
Do you remember when you mentioned that? It reminded me of something. Do you remember there was a woman that was kidnapped? She was being held captive in this guy's house, and then she escaped. Like the guy went somewhere, she escaped. She was naked, and she was like running through the neighborhood, banging on doors trying to get people to help her.
Yeah.
And nobody, it was
Nobody
middle
would
of the
help.
night, nobody would open the door and help this young lady.
Yeah.
Because of situations like this, fears like this of who am I letting into my house?
Right. Yeah. And is this some kind of scam? Am I going to open the door and then, a bunch of people are going to run in and home invade me?
That's, Tiffany,
like that.
why you should let me buy that minigun. Then Lincoln can be at the end of the hallway with the minigun, and I'll be like, sure, come on in.
So, but super crazy. What the hell is a 12-year-old doing with a gun, for number one?
Yeah.
And what type of household are you growing up in? What type of environment where you feel like you can, bring a gun to school and take a human life, like another 12-year-old kid? Like, it just
Yeah, it's really crazy.
is
So this
weird.
situation happened in South Kakalaka, also known as South Carolina.
Oh, I'm like, what the hell is that?
And it happened at a middle school.
Yeah.
Again, this is crazy, right? Because
He obviously had a major beef with this kid for whatever reason.
I'm super curious to understand what the connection is.
Yeah, because he didn't shoot other people. He shot this kid, which seems like
Very targeted.
very targeted. Exactly. He's going for. It's just crazy.
Yeah. So let's
Perfect
see.
reason for a minigun.
Troy, I totally agree, Troy. So Shane says, gangster Tiff. Kids think quick on their feet. Will make a good criminal. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. But it was. I'm wondering, did he want to call his dad? Was that, or was he just wanting to get in to hide or to hurt someone?
No.
What was the plan?
The homeowner did call the dad.
Right.
And then the dad answered the phone, and it was a detective who was already with the dad.
Okay, gotcha.
And the detective said, hey, this is the shooter.
Yeah.
Do not tell him
Do
we're
not
coming.
Tell him we're on the phone.
Tell us where he's at, and we're coming to get him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what the kid thought his dad was going to do, how his dad was going to help.
Oh, gang initiation.
That's a question mark.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. I
Yeah.
would probably tell them to go around the backyard. Yeah. Okay. Yes, because you have security cameras and stuff. It's just crazy. Thank God the woman wasn't home. I think that was really great. And then to have it all on video, too, I think kind of just helps everything, right?
And you know what? Once again, this lady's talking through the Ring app. As I'm watching the video, I'm like, I don't even know how to work my Ring app.
Oh,
don't
dude,
even know how to do it.
Yeah.
Because every time I've tried, it takes too long to load, and I'm
it's super
forget
helpful.
this. I'm out of here.
Yeah, no, I actually think so do you guys know, side note, do you guys know I was watching the top 10 successful businesses that Shark Tank turned down? And the Ring doorbell was named something else?
Yeah.
Was one of them?
I know. Yeah. It was called Robocaller or something stupid.
Of course you know. Yeah, Robobell or something like that. But now, this is something that I think everybody should have on their house. It only makes sense. Why would you open your door?
Yeah.
When you can, one, look to see who it is. You can also see like previous movement, right? Like were they doing anything shady? Did somebody else go hide around the house before they knocked on the door? And then why answer the door? You don't have to answer the door anymore. Like
Sure.
you can just go on there and say, hey, how can I help you?
I got to tell you, when I was a door-to-door salesman, I hated
Ring doorbell,
going to
yeah.
a house that had a Ring doorbell because there was like, listen,
best.
I was a door-to-door salesman whose left foot was bigger than my right foot because as soon as you open the door, I shoved my foot in the door and was like, hey, miss, give me 1 second. And I went through my pitch. So when they had a Ring doorbell, I was like, no point in even knocking. Like, they're never going to answer.
I think that's, how we say, like, it's not just about having a concealed carry or a permit or a gun in the house, right? There's multiple things that you can do in order to protect yourself. And I think the Ring doorbell is fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
It's really great.
Amazing technology.
You look at all the, like, different things that you see online, right, of things that happen at the door, and it's crazy.
See, what I'm really shocked by is cameras are very abundant now. There's cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
I really thought that with the abundance of cameras and technology,
The criminals would be
bad
different.
guys would just act different. Like they would
think
cover
they
their
care.
face more. I don't think they care, and frankly, I don't know if they're always smart enough.
Yeah.
Like they walk up to the camera and they look at the camera and push a button,
Yeah.
and it's like, you suck at your job, sir. You really don't understand, like, your industry.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. So, anyway, did this happen in Tampa? No, this was in South Carolina.
South Carolina,
happened. Yeah. Last week.
Florida
So-
Sheepdog says, land sharks. It's pretty funny. But Scrub Daddy and Squatty Potty are millionaires. Squatty Potty is brilliant.
Those are the other two or the other ones? Yeah.
Again, it just goes to show you do not have to have a good product to make a ton of money in America. That's a mistake that many entrepreneurs make, is that they think the product matters. What matters is the story that you tell to the customer. The story that you tell to the customer creates that emotion, creates the excitement, and gets them excited to buy your Squatty Potty, which is probably
Squatty
sitting
Potty.
in millions of public storage units across the country.
Pet rocks. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, Pet Rock's brilliant, man.
So awesome.
Yeah, so
All right,
amazing.
move along now. What do you got?
Okay, first question is, are switchblade knives legal to carry in Florida with or without a Florida concealed carry permit? It's a great question. And you're allowed to carry one with a Florida concealed carry permit. You're allowed to carry a knife, a pocket knife, which is less than 2.5 inches in length, I believe, without a concealed carry permit. But a switchblade without a carry permit, I'm actually not sure, but I would say is probably like hit or miss. With a carry,
that's why I gave you the...
with the carry, and I'm answering. With the carry permit, it is legal. However, here's something that people don't necessarily know about knives. Inside of my book, shameless plug time, Florida Concealed Carry Law, which you guys can actually get for free right now if you click the link in the description below.
No, don't leave the show.
Don't leave the show, but click it later. Save it in a different browser. Okay, so I talk about Florida's preemption law. So preemption basically means that each city, municipality, township is not allowed to create, in Florida, is not allowed to create stricter laws on firearms or ammunition or gun ranges. So the state of Florida creates a policy, but each smaller city, municipality, township is not allowed to have something different. There is no preemption law for knives, which means you can have a switchblade knife here in Tampa, but if you go down to Miami-Dade and you get caught with a switchblade knife, it is definitely getting confiscated. Huge possibility you're getting arrested just for being in possession of one. You also cannot have like auto assist knives in Miami-Dade. So just keep that in mind. If you're going down there to, do whatever, make sure, butterfly, Lisa is asking about a butterfly knife. Those are the ones that get like iffy, right? So butterfly knives, switchblades, stiletto knives, auto assist knives, stuff like that. That's where you're going to run into. It is not covered under preemption, and it does vary from county, municipality, and township. Yeah.
So, our kids just said, Mom, Jackson is putting boogers on me.
Okay.
Guys, go to bed.
Go to bed and turn off the live stream.
Turn off the live stream. Don't send any more messages and go to bed. This is what happens.
Okay.
This is what happens.
Yeah, lots of people love Jackson's booger thing here. Or that's probably Paisley typing that.
Yeah, Paisley's typing it. Yep.
Okay, Florida Sheepdog says, book needs to come with a set of steak knives.
That would be hilarious.
Do you guys want to know what I almost did for this year's book? And I just wasn't sure if people were going to be interested. There was going to be an NFT that came with the book. When you buy the book, you get an NFT. Tell me in the comments if you guys would be interested in that in a future product launch that I do if it came with an NFT. Would that be cool? Would it not be cool?
I'm not with all this NFT.
Okay. All right, so let's go to this next story here. So, scumbag Nikolas Cruz, if you guys remember, he was the mass shooter at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas high school down in Parkland, Florida. So, runs into the school. He'd already been expelled from the school a year earlier for violence, threats, and all this other stuff. But he charges into the school with a semi-automatic AR-15, kills 14 students, 3 adults, and he just went on a rampage that lasted 7 minutes. Yeah. I want you guys to imagine for a second how long 7 minutes is of gunfire.
Okay, I just have to clarify. In case you put this clip somewhere, I wasn't laughing at that story. Somebody said, what is an NFT in that? I figured that answers your question. They don't even know what an NFT is. But so I actually watched like an extended kind of documentary about this, and that one of the parents was speaking, and they kind of like explained like exactly his tracks, like through the school, which kids he like passed and then shot and then passed again and then shot again, and how they were still alive, and how they called their parents saying like, I've been shot, and then, you know, terrified, obviously. Parents are terrified, and then he walks by again. This is a cold-blooded killer. This guy has zero empathy. This guy... like,
is the perfect definition of a wolf.
He's a psychopath, though. Like, he, you know, there's a difference between the kid that, you know, gets a gun and he's going to do an armed robbery, but, you know, he's really, I'm not giving him any credit, but he's really not planning on using it. He's just trying to, you know, get some money, but then there's a struggle, and then the gun goes off kind of thing, and kind of did it.
Okay, I understand.
But this kid is, to me, there's no rehabilitating this kid.
Oh, no.
There's no reconciliation. Like, I just
That was a big word, Tiff. High five. Good job.
I feel like, you know, sometimes I hate to say the death penalty, because I feel, you know, the God-loving side of me thinks like, you know, mercy and grace and people can be forgiven. But people like this kid, there's nothing there. I don't like to say pure evil, but
No, yeah, you're pure evil.
I think
same thing with like the Sandy Hook shooter, the Columbine shooters. Like, you've been possessed by Satan, and you are a extremely evil person.
So I think...
so what's fascinating now is that Nikolas Cruz, you know, he already pled guilty to the murders, so there's no trial that's necessary for that. But the state of Florida wants to give him the death penalty. Yeah. But Nikolas Cruz, in one of the articles that I read, is like saying, you know, death penalty is not fair.
Yeah. Well,
you murdered 17 people.
Yeah. Like cold-blooded, like evil, not like, you know, you were driving your car drunk and you accidentally hit a school bus. Like,
yeah, because that's different.
This is premeditated, and you know, he had a chance to speak right to the families and ask for them to not put the death penalty on. And his speech was, I mean, it was totally bizarre. You could tell that he's mentally
incoherent nonsense.
Yeah, and he just was like, instead of just saying, like, I am so sorry, like, I can't believe the pain and hurt, he was more like, kind of like, feel sorry for me.
Yeah.
Like, so for me, and I don't really like the death penalty, but I think for me, I don't think this kid will ever be, I just think he needs to leave this earth, and if it's to go to Heavenly Father, then that's what it is. But in situations like this, don't you think it should be a vote for the families instead of a jury? Because you're guilty.
To be very honest, like, what bothers me about the death penalty is how long it takes.
Right.
I don't understand how this takes 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, That's not the death penalty to me.
Especially situations like this where we already know you're guilty. I mean, there's, some other ones are a little bit more questionable and they're going through appeals and stuff like that. And they, it's not as cut and dry. But this one's cut and dry. And I just think that this would be a great thing to say, you know what, there's, 17 families. You guys can have an anonymous vote. Put your thing on the paper, put it in the box, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
I think
I don't know.
Should be in their
You
hands.
tell us what you guys think in the comments below. It's these mass shootings that will get our 2A rights further restricted and eroded.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they're definitely doing it, right? And it's like what Nancy Pelosi and all of these politicians say, never let a good crisis go to waste. They use whatever the crisis is, and then they figure out how they can leverage it to paint gun owners as bad people. Whereas what's really hilarious is we, the people on here, we're working very hard to make sure that we're safe, responsible gun owners, and we're protecting the people around us. This guy and the other shooting I'm going to show you guys in just a second, these are not representations of who gun owners are.
Right.
But they don't want to show stuff like that.
Okay, so Ryan sends out an email every day, and he has situations like this and stuff like that happening. So let's pull up what some of the emails reply back, what some others were saying.
Okay, so this says, death 100%, no need or reason for such beings to be alive. John.
Okay, yep.
Okay. Many deaths from a boy with lack of impulse control due to development being incompleted.
Not being completed.
So I reluctantly say life in prison. However, it changed too fast. Given the death penalty, must definitely, whoever sheds the blood of man by the blood, blah, blah,
He
blah.
must also, okay, so the one lady, though, said, she's thinking rehabilitation.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes I feel like, but in this situation, I don't think there's, and I don't know, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think that rehabilitation is okay, but not letting them back out. There was a story in the paper, I don't remember all the details, but it was within the last week of a guy that was in prison for 28 years for murdering somebody, rape, and doing all these horrible things. They release him from prison because he's rehabilitated, and he rapes and murders somebody as soon as he gets out. Listen, you fools. Okay, they can be rehabilitated in a cage, but you don't let a dog that attacks people, you don't ever let that dog around people again. It can stay in the cage, and you can let it live its life in the cage, but it cannot be around people.
So there's actually, remember how I just read you that news story? So there's a gentleman in California that's going up for parole. So he's not getting out, but he's going up for parole for killing 26 teenage boys and burying them alive.
It's crazy, dude. That's crazy.
Why would we even consider ever letting this person back out into society? Why would that even be?
Okay, I got something very controversial that may piss some people off right now. You guys ready?
Oh, here we go. Should I hide under the desk?
So Florida Sheepdog says he, Nikolas Cruz, should take David Hogg with him. Now listen, here's what I believe. Here's what I find interesting. The left.
Wait.
No, you got to let me.
Some people don't know who David Hogg is, though. So
David Hogg is one of the students at the Parkland shooting. And after the Parkland massacre, David Hogg started this huge anti-gun kick, and he's trying to leverage this into a career, basically.
Because he always wanted to be a
journalist and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he's a big advocate for gun control. He has a right to say and believe whatever he wants to believe.
Yeah.
And I have a right to not listen. If people want to listen to David Hogg, go listen to him.
Yeah.
I think that's great. You believe whatever you want to believe. But I'm going to believe what I want to believe. I do not believe it is up to us to silence him, to threaten him, or to wish anything bad on him. Are we going to fight him with legislation and with our movement and community? Yes. But I don't want him to get hurt.
And
I don't want anybody to stop him.
Standing up and showing people that all gun owners aren't crazy. All gun owners aren't, out to kill and hurt people.
Right.
And that we're just normal, everyday citizens who want to have the ability, and believe that we have a God-given right to have the ability to protect ourselves.
A couple weeks ago, or a little over a week ago, I asked a woman in the concealed carry class why she wants to get a carry permit. And she starts crying, and in my mind, I'm like, crap, I shouldn't have asked this lady. But I ask everybody.
Right.
And she said, I recently got raped.
Yeah.
And she was hysterical, very upset. It was very sad for me to listen to this woman, right?
Yeah.
So that's why this exists. It's so that people like her don't have to live the rest of their life in fear that some idiot is going to come and violently hurt them again. We had a student not too long ago, his daughter, it was a woman, I think. Her daughter was raped, drugged in Ybor, and raped by 3 different men just recently. I mean, this stuff is happening every single day. I think in one of my ads that I have coming out, 22 people in Florida are raped every single day.
Which is a
And
crazy number when...
They estimate only 20% of rape victims actually call the police after the rape.
So what would that mean? That would mean to take that number and 4 times
So that would
it?
be like 110 people are raped every day, roughly.
Every day. That's scary when you got a young lady.
Which is why I want a young lady to have a handgun.
Yeah.
Because nothing motivates a scumbag to stop being a scumbag like a Glock 19 pointed at their chest.
Yeah.
Right?
Craziness. Ugh.
All right, so Dan says everyone has their own opinions and they have the right to share them. I have my own, and I'm good with that. Same, I don't have to listen to others.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly
Well,
it, right?
and you got to remember, if you believe in the Second Amendment, you have to believe in the First Amendment too. You have to believe in other, people's right to free speech, to say what they want to say, to stand up for what they truly believe in. They're not any different than us. That is what they truly believe in. Just like we truly believe in this. And that's kind of where I feel like, somebody said something, I can't remember exactly what it was, but they were basically saying, I don't know, they were bashing the government. Like, the government can't get along and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm thinking, but neither can we. Like,
Sure.
Are we able to have a conversation?
A calm conversation.
A calm conversation.
With somebody who doesn't agree with you.
Or somebody that feels like you shouldn't have an AR-15. It's an assault rifle. Or somebody that feels like you don't need more than 6 rounds in your Glock. Are we able to talk with that person and calmly have a discussion with that person? A lot of people can't. Some of you can, and that's great.
Yeah.
But a lot of you can't, and that's why our politicians are doing the exact same, right?
Sure.
So, it goes hand in hand. But I just wish that people could start to come together a little bit more and not be so divided.
Yeah, and focus on the things that we do. So, and again, I made this comment a long time ago, and the internet freaking broke, and everybody was blasting me. This is the primary reason. My assistant, Glidell, sent me a message the other day. She's like, Ryan, you need to look at this quick. So it's 11 o'clock at night, so I get on and look, and she's like, it's some comment from YouTube, and I was like, ignore it, Glidell. I honestly do not care what anybody has to say on YouTube, because I don't care, because it's all negative, right? But what I said was, generally, all people in America want the same thing.
Yeah.
Republicans, Democrats.
The in-betweens.
Well, I can't remember what that's called right now.
Independent.
Independent. Yeah, whatever. So we all want the same stuff, right? We all want to be happy.
We want peace.
We all want to have families that love us.
Yeah.
We all want to be safe in our society. So there's something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. These are the needs that all human beings have, right? So the very first level is food, safety, security. And then it kind of moves up, right? So we all want the same stuff. What changes is we all have different ideas of how to get that goal.
Right.
And then what really differs is, I believe, you work to get safety, security, food, and comfort, whereas other people believe everybody should just be given it.
Right.
I don't believe that.
Right.
So anyway.
So, yeah.
Libertarian, that's what I was trying to think, Shane.
Oh,
Sorry.
gotcha. So Greg actually brought up a good question,
Okay.
I think. So if Hogg was armed at the school, would he have used it?
He doesn't believe in guns, Greg.
So he wouldn't be armed at the school, but that is a good question to say, okay, if you had access to a gun. Let's
Sure.
say there was a safe at the school.
Or in Israel, right? Maybe there's a gun sitting there, the fire hydrant, how there's a gun and you break it.
Break in case of... That's so crazy, the differences.
I don't know if that's real, by the way.
Yeah. But the difference is, so the question would be, like, if you had access, then would you think that having that, I don't know. It's just interesting.
When we think about that shooting, there was a lot of teachers that use their body as a human shield to protect the children that were behind them.
Yeah.
That's a sheepdog.
Yeah.
I would much rather, this goes to the debate of should teachers be allowed to have guns?
Some.
I think it was a school gym teacher at Parkland that died using his body as a human shield. Give that dude a gun.
Yeah.
That guy is
I think
clearly
if they
willing
want
to die.
to have one, because some of them are sheepdogs, and I think perfect. Give them a gun, but I don't think making them.
No, you can't make them
because some people that's just
too big
not,
of a responsibility.
Yeah, it's just not them. It's not they're going to end up hurting them or themselves or somebody else because they can't handle it. But I think that somebody who wants to take on that responsibility, and I think they should have certain training and stuff like that. Not just hey, here's a gun. I think that they can choose, and the state would pay for them to go through that. Training, and nobody would know which one of those, were in the school. It would just be like,
it kind of needs to be
like an air marshal.
Yeah, it needs to be like an air marshal where it's top secret. They never publicize.
That way, the school shooter can't. If there is, they wouldn't know like which rooms to avoid and stuff like that, right?
Or how many exist. That's what I was trying to say before I was so rudely interrupted. I'm just joking, Tiffany. Relax.
Because you interrupt me like 500 times, and then when I interrupt you, you're like, I can't believe you interrupted.
Okay, here's an interesting comment. Lisa says, I've changed my mind about ARs. I didn't like them, but I've changed my mind. If bad guys have them, then we need to be prepared for those kind of people. And I'm a Democrat. Okay, awesome.
Good.
I try to be realistic.
You are welcome
Not
here.
all bad.
Yep.
Not all good. Yeah, Lisa, I totally agree.
Yep.
And that's why it's so important for us to have a calm conversation. One of the videos I saw a long time ago that I thought was amazing. I don't know who did this, but it was like the NRA or the National Shooting Sports Foundation, some big organization, got together like a bunch of anti-gun like reporters and stuff and brought them to the gun range and said, you talk bad about these guns.
Right.
Let us show you these guns and explain them to you. So this person who's like, I hate guns, hate AR-15s, whatever. They explained the gun and they said, does anybody want to shoot them to see what it's like?
Right.
So the guy's like, I'll do it. Fine, I'll do it. So he goes over there, he pulls the trigger, and then he kind of looks at the camera and he said, that was kind of fun. Yeah, that's kind of the point, right? This is kind of fun. And the more you do it, the more fun it becomes, right? It's just like anything. You can use a hammer in a positive way to build a house, or you can use a hammer to kill somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a tool, right? For me, the biggest, because I was kind of the same. Like, I was like, oh, why does people don't need this? Because it's very easy to get, I'm an empathetic person, so when I see these, events like a school shooting or something, that just breaks my heart. But for me, I actually think not only to protect yourself from the bad guys, but for me, the major thing is other countries to invade.
Yeah.
There's a major thing that is stopping other countries from invading America. And that is because there are so many guns, and not just guns, but we have either the same or better weapons than they do.
I got a lot of cool stuff, man. Like I was saying to a buddy the other day, I probably couldn't fund a war, but I have enough guns and ammo to launch a small insurrection. Okay?
No, but I mean, the whole point of that would be to throw one to your neighbor, to throw, what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, that's the idea of every person having a few, is that if something were to happen, that's what's going to happen. You're going to have people rising up that you never thought would rise up, but they're going to have no choice, right? They're going to sit in their house with their tail between their legs, being terrified, or they're going to pick up.
Well, it's like what's happening in Ukraine right now.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice, exactly.
Yeah, you do something or you're going to die, and
Yeah.
that's just it, right? Yeah, crazy.
So,
All right.
anyway, move on to the next one. Thank you so much, Greg. We appreciate you.
Okay, so question number 2. Good morning, Mr. Ryan. I love it when people say that. It makes me feel...
Mr. Ryan, that's
Mr.
what
Ryan.
the church kids used to call you.
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Ryan.
Okay, I'm looking for information about if I can bring a gun from Puerto Rico to Florida. Do you know if I need to do any process between 2 gun shops, or can I just walk in the airport with the weapon disarmed in a box for guns? I'm trying to do the best that I can to avoid getting arrested, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Yeah, what was his name? Kelvin?
Kelvin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kelvin. Based on what I understand, bringing a gun from Puerto Rico to Florida should be a very simple process because the state of Florida doesn't care. As long as you are legally allowed to be in possession of a gun, so you're not a convicted felon, whatever, then it's definitely not an issue bringing the gun to Florida. When I first read that, when I was putting it into the computer, I read it as bringing a gun from Florida to Puerto Rico. That would be a very different situation,
Right.
more complex. Hey, thanks, Joe. We appreciate you, man. Yeah, so I don't think it's an issue. It'll be very easy. You just want to, if you have a copy of my book, read the chapter. Again, shameless plug time. Florida Concealed Carry Law. Get your copy right now for free. Click the link below. Okay. In the section there, we talk about bringing a gun onto an airplane legally. Read through that. Really make sure you understand the intricacies. It's very easy to do. I've done it a dozen plus times, but it's stressful the first time because you're not really sure, like, is what Ryan said going to work?
The big thing to do is read what your airline, because each airline sets their own standard, right?
Yeah.
So you just want to know what they expect of you. And I know one mistake that you made was that your flight was early and there was nobody at the desk yet.
Yeah, nobody at the desk.
So you have to make sure, like, you
never
also
book a red eye if you have a gun in your bag.
Exactly,
it's a lesson I
because
learned.
you need help at the thing. Oh, Mary, I'll send you a copy.
Yeah. All right, so next story here. Ooh, this is a crazy one. This guy was driving down the freeway, had his 4-year-old daughter in the vehicle with him, and his car got a flat tire. So what do you do when you have a flat tire? You call a tow truck, AAA, something like that. So the tow truck guy pulls up on the scene and was like, hey, sir, instead of you and your 4-year-old standing on the side of this freeway, get into my truck, so at least that way you're safe if something happens. So then the tow truck driver moves the car onto the flatbed, gets it all towed down, tightened down and stuff, gets into the vehicle. Something happened, and this scumbag pulled out a gun and opened fire, shooting the tow truck driver.
Find the man
I think he
accused of
didn't wanna
shooting
pay
a
the
tow
bill.
truck driver on I-70. He is 22-year-old Joseph
Terrible
Jackson
strategy.
from Raytown, Missouri. He's facing charges of attempted murder, aggravated battery, neglect of a dependent, carrying a handgun with no license, and theft of the tow truck. State police say that on Friday, Jackson got a flat near the rest area near Plainfield. And police say after the tow truck driver loaded Jackson's car onto the wrecker, Jackson shot the driver, took off in the tow truck, and then police were able to catch up with Jackson a short time later. Police also found Jackson's 4-year-old child in the wrecker. The tow truck driver is 38-year-old Matthew Roberts. He is now listed in stable condition.
Pretty wild, right?
I honestly think that's what it is. I think that he called the tow truck driver. He didn't want to pay the bill, or he was broke or whatever. And because I can't understand why else you would shoot someone dead. Like, that's just
I don't
in
think the
front
guy
of your
died.
kid.
I don't think the guy died. The tow truck driver is still running around somewhere.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he didn't die. So yeah, I think it's absolutely wild. Again, it just goes to show you don't know who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
You really got to be on guard and pay attention because you just don't know. The wolves look like everybody else, but they're waiting for that moment to launch into that attack. You know, I was driving. I was coming home from class in Tampa, and I was driving home to Puerto Rico. I was on I-4, and as I'm driving, I see this card on the side of the road. Now listen, Shane. If Shane is on the side of the road, a man, I'm not helping you.
Right.
You can figure that out on yourself, bro.
Yeah.
But if Mary,
Everyone's got a cell phone.
but if Mary's on the side of the road, a woman,
Yeah.
I will always stop to help a woman.
Mary probably don't need your help. Just say.
Probably.
Just say.
But I would stop. So anyway, I see these like 4 or 5, I don't remember how many, young girls laying on the grass on the side of the freeway. And I was like, what the hell? So I was going too fast, right? So I got off and then I made a big U-turn, came back, and I walked up and I was like, are you guys okay? And she's like, yeah, my friend was having a panic attack, so we had to stop to rest on the grass. And I was like, you guys are all wearing short little booty shorts,
like crop
little
tops,
skirts and stuff. And I was like, do you guys like have pepper spray or a knife or anything? Which is probably like a weird thing to ask.
Right.
And the girl's like, and I said, I have some pepper spray in my truck. Let me give you some pepper spray.
Yeah.
Get in your vehicle and drive home. Okay?
But
like,
it's funny that they're like, pepper spray. Like, why? Like, they really don't think that bad people...
You think it's just okay to stop on the side of the road? Like, this is how people get raped, kidnapped, murdered.
Well, look at that young lady last week, right? Sitting in her vehicle in the Walmart parking lot, just waiting to take the tram to work, right?
Yeah.
Scumbag takes her and murders her.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Just never know. So I feel bad now. Shane's like, oh, I'd stop to help you, Ryan. But okay, whatever. Maybe I'd stop to help you, Shane. But my point is, like, I'm definitely...
A man can handle it.
Yeah, a man can go figure it out, but
and
a woman...
everybody has cell phones nowadays. This is not like, 20 years ago when only the few people that had the, like, antenna sticking out of their car had a car phone. Like, everybody's got a phone now, so they can call a family member for help or whatever.
Okay, so Mary says, did you guys hear about the St. Pete father with his 9-year-old son? No, I didn't see that. Hey, thanks a lot, Marcel. I appreciate you, man.
Marcel, we love you. All right, next one.
Okay, next question.
740.
Okay. Doug says, as a new first-time concealed carry holder, how do you get off your mind that I'm carrying a gun? You walk around thinking about it. Is this something that eventually goes away? Eventually, you stop thinking about what you're carrying.
Can I say it?
Go.
Because you talk so much. You never let me talk. No, so as soon as I read this question, I was thinking about the first time I bought my brand new car. I already forget what it was called. What was it called? The Chevy what?
I don't know.
Ghetto
Blaster.
But it was a cool car, and I'm driving, right? I'm like, I'm driving it home from the dealer. I'm driving, and I'm thinking, like, I am so freaking cool. And I'm, like, looking at everybody that I'm passing, like, hey. And everybody I'm looking at, like, I'm expecting them to be looking at me.
You're expecting them to be like...
Because I'm driving a brand new car. However, nobody noticed.
Yeah, nobody cares.
And nobody ever noticed.
Yeah.
Because nobody cares and nobody notices. And when you first start carrying a gun, you're very aware of it. And you also think that everybody else around you is aware of it. You think everybody's looking at you. You think everybody knows you have a gun.
You think
nobody notices, nobody cares. And eventually, just like me driving my car, that feeling will go away.
Thanks, Dan.
And it will become a part of you. And the only time you'll actually notice is when you don't have it.
Yeah, so it's funny, like when I remember the first time I carried a gun, it was in a Walmart.
It wasn't a Chevy Volt.
No, it was inside of a Walmart. And I remember I was wearing a sweatshirt because I was like so concerned about printing. And I'm walking in and somebody like walks by and looks at me and I'm like, oh shit, they saw it. I'm caught. Something's gonna happen, right? And I was just so stressed about printing. Today, like Tiff will tell you, when I'm doing like construction work or something, you know those like white undershirts that you wear that are like super, super tight? I'll be wearing one of those.
I can see you sweating through.
Yeah. I'll be wearing one of those. So like I'm printing like you can see everything, right? And I'm just like, I got to run to Home Depot. And I walk in just like that. If you are like half brain dead, you know that I have a handgun. Yeah. Nobody notices. Why? Nobody cares, and people are oblivious. People walk around in a sedated state. Mm-hmm. They walk around using their subconscious mind, and they don't even they're not even like actively a part of life.
Yeah.
And that's what we got to shift our brains out of. We got to get to the active part, and we got to really grow, develop, and pay attention, right?
Yeah.
And this is how, again, the young woman that got murdered in the Walmart parking lot the other day, she was in her sedated state. Yeah. She was subconsciously scrolling through Facebook, probably sitting in her phone, oblivious. If that would have been me, I would have seen that threat very, very quick. Very quick. And it would have been ended way before it started. Because I'm consciously paying attention. And that's what we have to kind of get into.
That situation is really sad because a simple thing is having the door locked would have, solved that. So it's very, very sad. Welcome, JJ. Says, good evening. It's been a long time since I've been able to catch you guys live. We are happy to have you here. So it was a Chevy Cavalier.
Oh, yeah.
I bought it in like 2002. And I was dating Ryan. And the how do you say it?
Mofo.
The mofo takes my car to work on the base. I said, here, take my car. Your car broke down. No problem. Take my brand new car. He decides on a merge that he's going to race a semi.
I almost won.
He does not want to he wants to get in front of the semi. He's mad the semi's not letting him in, so he guns it. And the semi has those lug nuts, right?
The big
those
spikes that come out?
Those big spike lug nuts specifically for assholes like that. Well, he tears up like the whole freaking side of my car like a tin can. Like it was, the metal was just like, have you ever seen those click cans, where you use the little key and then you like spiral out the metal? That was my car.
Yeah.
Not impressed. I can't believe I still married you, to be quite honest.
Because I got that D. Okay, Lisa says, I went to a doctor's appointment this morning and heard you in my head. Keep your head on the swivel. Awesome, Lisa.
Yes.
I think that's great.
That is the point of everything that we do.
Yeah, it really is, right?
Yeah.
Keep your head on a swivel. Think outside the box. Think ahead of what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. Here's an example. We had a salesman come to our door. And listen, I appreciate the hustle, man. I love sales reps because I know how hard it is, and I appreciate what you do. So a sales rep comes to the door, and he's got his clipboard, right? Which I invented that. So he's got his I didn't invent it, but I did it so much, right? And he's like, hey, we have your home warranty, and the home builder forgot to give us your name and address, your name and phone number, so I'm here to get it from you. And I was like, get it from the homeowner or the home builder, right? If they forgot to give it to you, go get it from them. But he gave me a BS line. I saw through it, and he obviously didn't make any sale because I call BS, right? We got to think ahead. We got to think, does this actually make sense right now? Would a Duke Energy or Tico power plant employee actually come to my house and knock on the door?
And need to come in to check something.
Right.
Without calling ahead of time, without sending a letter in the mail and certified anything.
That just doesn't happen.
Sorry,
so don't answer your
back.
door for that person.
Yeah, exactly. So guess who's on here?
Who?
Look, Isabel and Michael. So they said, do you remember? You did the private shotgun.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was actually just thinking about you, Isabel.
We are your sexy senior citizen trainees.
Yeah.
They're not senior. No.
I'll tell you what, they ain't taking no shit.
Yeah, right. Trained.
Okay.
So this thing about Ryan's voice, I have to say, this is so true because one of our some good students or great students from Orlando, same situation. They're taking Ryan's Beginner's Guide to Firearms. I think they've taken
Sheepdog Master Class.
6 to 8 classes. They've even taken, it's a young couple.
Thank you, Kathy.
They've even taken his Sheepdog Master Class, the advanced one, right? But something happened. The husband was in the shower. She needed to get a gun out because there was a bang at the door. And she said, I could hear your voice, Ryan, clearly telling me.
Pick up the gun with your left hand. Put it in your right hand.
With your non-dominant hand. Put it in your right hand. And she was following all the steps from all these trainings, right? And she knew exactly what to do. And she said, I was so confident because it was just playing back in my head.
But that's what happens with consistent, deliberate practice over an extended period of time. But see, the problem is, I was at the range. What day was it? Saturday, shooting with a couple students. And then 3 other dudes came in, right? So anytime other people come in, I always look at them and I even take sneaky pictures of how much they suck at shooting. So
So if you ever go and Ryan's taking pictures of you.
Yeah, I haven't been caught yet, but I'll take pictures of their feet. I got an email I'm gonna send later this week of this guy.
Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, this guy actually that day, he fired, it was awesome. He fired 12 shots at a brand new clean target. Tiffany,
Don't tell me he missed all
He hit the target 2 times. And I was like, bro, sign up for my class, man. We can fix that. But see, this is what happens when you try to figure stuff out on your own. You try to figure it out on your own, you have to pay the price. You got to learn.
Right.
The easy way is come to somebody who's an expert already. And we can say there was a guy in the class today, his name was Ryan, who's 22 years or 20 years in the Army. Just retired, great guy. So he's been shooting rifles a lot, right?
Yeah.
And he's an amazing shooter, but he was just doing this tiny little thing that, frankly, 99% of people would never even notice that that's what you're doing. But I said, what you need to do is this. And then he did it, and it fixed the problem. His groupings were already tight, but they stopped going low. And he was like, wow, that actually worked.
Actually
and I was
helped.
like, yeah, freaking shocker, huh? You hire an expert, we're going to be able to tell you what to do to get the result. Because we've already done it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Super awesome. I don't know. So, what's our next question? We're almost running out of time.
Actually, I think we talked about all those video stories. Okay, I want to share something. I kind of teased it a little bit inside of the message, but this is a secret project I've been working on since the beginning of this year.
Secret.
Tiffany hates it.
I hate it.
It has been epic. It has been very difficult.
It's okay. Very difficult. It's been very expensive. I'll tell you.
Very expensive. Very difficult.
Like I could have bought a new car expensive.
No, it's not that expensive.
Yeah, pretty much is.
No.
Pretty much.
But it's turned out really cool. So I told you guys, I sent an email a long time ago about the AR-15 Secrets course, and I've been writing a book about it. So that's a cover, didn't Tiff do a good job? This is the actual digital book that is like almost done. Tomorrow it'll be 100%. Oh no, the digital book is done. The printed book is not done yet. So look in just a second. So it goes step by step. What kind of parts you need, what kind of tools you need to build a badass AR, and then step-by-step pictures of each step of the process. This is like hundreds of images, super high quality. Dude, this was so hard to make. So flippin' hard.
So expensive.
So expensive.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if I'll ever make an infographic book like this ever again.
Holy hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it turned out really amazing. The young woman that helped us design it and do all this stuff. So these are like all the custom upgrades and why you should get these upgrades. She just did such an amazing job with it. I'm really happy about it. This is the back cover.
So what this is part of, it's the book. It's the course, right? The online course. So Ryan walks through actually doing each step. Plus then you have that manual to go through and really kind of pinpoint and stuff. And he explains like things that, maybe you just don't know. Like what's the difference between this barrel and this barrel? Why is this barrel $200 and this barrel's $100 and this barrel is $500?
I have barrel. You can buy an AR-15 barrel for $50. Yeah. I have an AR barrel sitting right over there that I paid like $300 for.
So he breaks down like the difference between why this bolt or what upgrade you should do and which one you can skimp on and everything like that. So it's like a full-blown, it should have been called the AR-15 Masterclass because that's what it is. Super cool and super expensive. Gosh, let me just tell you, like at least I spent, I think like, what did I count? Like 82 hours on this book before and the pictures and everything before I sent it off to the editor. And then she spent another, I don't know, Ryan won't tell me the bill.
So you want to know what's crazy is the woman that I hired to help us create the book and stuff lives in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. So I have a rule with everybody that works for me. Like I say, I wake up at 5:30. At 6 a.m., I'm looking on my phone and I want to see what you've been working on for the day before. Okay. So she didn't have her status update. So I sent her a message and was like, hey, how's the project going? And then didn't hear from her all day. And I'm like pissed, right? So I send her this message and I'm like, as you know, per our agreement, I expect this, this, and this, right? And then she responds back and she's like, a city near me was bombed today and we haven't had electricity. The electricity just got turned back on. And I was like, you get a pass. You're still working while your country is at war. I'd say that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, exactly, Joe. It was expensive. Thanks very much for the hair thing. They said my hair looks good. So I did put a couple little streaks in it. But honestly, like this hair it's nasty. So I woke up at 5 a.m. to a house full of dog puke. And when I say, like I was walking around going, because it was so bad. Our senior dog, Luna, is like nearing the end of her life. And I don't know what's going on. She can barely move.
She's dying. Yeah, it's going to happen soon. So anyway.
I don't know if this is like true. I Googled it and it said it's not true, but she can barely move. And I put her outside. She loves to lay in the sun. Like that's her thing. She just lays there. So we don't have a fence on our backyard, but we can just let her out and she just plunks herself on the grass and she'll stay there all day. The other dog will run off, right? Well, I go out there. So I let her, she's not feeling good. She's puking. So I let her sit out there and I come back and she's dug a hole. She hasn't dug a hole in like 8 years.
Yeah, a long time.
Do they know something is happening?
Maybe, or maybe she was trying to cool down or something. I don't know.
No, because then she would have just came, on the patio where it's cool. She loves to lay out there. So anyway, probably within the next, couple weeks, we're going to have to. So what I was saying about my hair, I know Ryan doesn't care. So I carpet cleaned like all day, right? Cleaning floors, bleaching, cleaning the carpets with the carpet cleaner. And then I made 4 dozen empanadas, which I've never made before. So I had to figure it out, make the dough, roll it out, doing all this stuff. And then I had to fry them all. I did that around 3 or 4. So I'm a mess. I need to, do I smell it all?
I don't smell anything.
Okay. So anyway, I appreciate that you like the hair because it really is
rough.
Yeah. Pet stuff is gross. I agree, Katora. Yes, I like nasty hair. Okay, well, good.
Okay, so if you guys let's talk about Florida Concealed Carry Law 2022, finally available. I posted the link in here. It's in the description. You guys can get it. A copy for free. All you got to do is pay a small amount of money for the shipping, and you guys can get a copy of the book for free. And then right after you order the book, I'm going to make you a special one-time offer for a huge discount to get the AR-15 Secrets course, which includes the book, the class, a bunch of other really cool stuff.
Yeah.
So take advantage of that. Click that link after the live's over, and it'll be awesome.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say, I forget what I was gonna say.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. You don't think so? I don't need
No, they
wine.
care.
You know what I have today? I have a brown cow. So I've got Kahlua and milk.
Why are you allowed to drink and I'm not allowed to drink?
Well, we can go into this if you want, but because I only need one drink every now and then. But if you buy a case of beer, then you'll drink it every single day.
Because I'm consistent.
And
I'm an
you'll
entrepreneur.
drink 6 or 7 every single day. And Ryan feels like I'm mothering him, but his father is an alcoholic. And I told him he has to be very careful. And he thinks it's normal to drink 6 or 7 beers every night. But I told him that's not normal.
Apparently not.
So we can't really have it in the house. And then I was feeling bad. Maybe I shouldn't buy it either. Because from time to time, not very often, every few weeks, sometimes months, sometimes years. I've had this bottle of Kahlua for 2.5 years. So every now and then I like to have a beverage. So I was thinking maybe I shouldn't, but I was screw that. When I was on a diet, you would be all up in burgers and cake and pie. You are never oh, Tiff's on a diet, so I'm going to have a carrot.
Yeah, no, I'd rather die.
So
Yeah.
I'll eat my...
John Boy said these two are woke. That's funny. We're probably not the right people for you, so probably just get off. Yeah.
Sorry, John Boy's auto body. I guess you don't
Wrong
like us.
beers, Ryan and I, 2 to 3 and good.
Just get your weed card. No. Been there, done that. Not the weed card, but weed. And it sounds like a good idea the first couple times you do it. You're you have all these ideas, you have energy.
Yeah, I'm a thinker though, right? And I mean, we know that it just kind of shuts you down and makes you lazy. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah,
I want to work more. I want to work harder. I want to be more focused. I don't want to be less focused.
I was a wake and bake. I used to smoke pot all day, every day when I was younger. And I mean, I didn't know what it was like to be sober. And this is 25 years ago. But I know what it feels like to be stoned all day, and I'm not interested in that anymore. So, yep, weed sucks, says Todd.
Yeah.
So I do think there's a time and a place for it. Our friend, who's got the brain tumor.
Yeah. I think marijuana is probably a good option for her.
That really helps. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's definitely a time and a place for it, but I don't think that it should be an everyday.
Yeah, and I think that to each their own, right? I think marijuana should be legal. I think it's stupid that we waste so much money trying to prevent people from having something that is just not that dangerous. But I don't think it'll help me be a better me.
Right.
It's not going to help me be smarter, make more money, do anything. It's just
Well,
not.
I don't think a professional firearms trainer being stoned all the time is going to be a good thing anyway.
Yeah, I know.
That.
Do you remember that time I went to my class? The unit next door to our building was getting renovated. The new tenant was moving in, and they were smoking weed inside the building. Oh. So I showed up to teach a class, and I was like, oh my God, it reeks like marijuana in here. So I open up the doors. I'm got the air conditioner blaring like it barely does anything, right? And then people are coming in, and I'm like, I know it probably smells like marijuana in here.
It wasn't me.
It's not me. It's the construction guys next door. Yeah. I was pissed. Called the landlord, and I was like, you had better shut this shit down. because this is like wildly unacceptable for a business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pissed.
Yeah, so anyway, all right, so you don't have anything else? Look at the time, look at the time. 7:59. We did it. We made it by 8 o'clock. I'm super happy that all of you guys are on here. Do you want to put the link for the book up?
I already did it, way ahead of you.
No, on the screen, though.
Oh.
Because when people aren't on the live chat, people
There you go.
rewatch it. There you go. So if you go to floridaconcealedcarrylaw.com, you can pick up your book. And if you're interested in the AR-15 Secrets course, then you can grab that as well. So it is going to take like a week or two to get to you because we're just getting the book to print, but it should be here within the next couple weeks. So super exciting if you want to do that and learn how to build your own AR-15 with Ryan. So he goes through a ton of stuff. So that's it.
Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate you. Have a great day.
Have a great night.
And stay safe.